All right, good morning. I'm about to go for my walk because that's all I can do right now while I'm on the road to recovery for 4 to 6 weeks. But I wanted to come on here to give you guys an update. Now that some of the shock has worn off, I know that I threw you guys into a lot of information very quickly. But I want to say a special thank you for the outpouring of love, support, and prayers. I'm doing well. Um, Yesterday, I got my drains out and some injections for my foobs. So they're coming along nicely. And yes, I said foobs, uh, fake boobs from now on. I got that from TikTok actually, so I can't even claim to own that. But at any rate, I wanted to say thank you. But more importantly, the whole point of me making that announcement was so that I could bring awareness to the situation and tell my story about how I got here and why it wasn't quite a surprise for me. It was actually 3 years in the making. So stay tuned to the end if you want some of the details. But for the beginning part, I'm not going to go into too much detail just in case some people are squeamish or whatever. But long story short, 3 years ago, I was having some symptoms, and essentially, I went to my primary care physician, and they were like, "Oh, I don't think anything of it." Even though I have a strong family history of breast cancer on my maternal side, my mom's side, and anyway, went to my primary care physician, my PCP. We did the mammogram, everything was clear, but I was still having symptoms. And so then months later, I went to see a breast specialist, and they were also kind of dismissive based on the symptoms that I was exhibiting. And so they ordered an MRI, and everything was clear. And then my breast specialist said, "Oh, maybe the symptoms will clear up in a year or two on its own," which it obviously did not. Um, and they told me to just continue to get mammograms and MRIs. They'll alternate them. So that's what the plan was, and I went on about my life. I'm continuing to live with those symptoms, and yeah. So at any rate, you have to. The point is to advocate for yourself. If you're, I kind of hindsight is 2020. I probably should have gotten even more opinions beyond just the breast specialist and the PCP, because something wasn't right even after the first year, the second year, etc. So hold on. Okay, so if you don't want the details on this part, you can click off. But essentially, the symptoms that I was exhibiting was breast pain coupled with nipple discharge on my left side. And so what was happening was it felt like if you've ever been pregnant and given birth, it felt like I needed to lactate because I've breastfed two beautiful human beings on this earth. I had that same sensation. They were testing me for hormone disruptions like prolactin and things of that nature. Everything kept coming back normal. But at any rate, the nipple discharge looked like when I got the mammogram, it finally expressed it out. And it looked like light brown maple syrup, almost kind of like that. It was a small amount, wasn't huge or whatever. Over time, it became more consistent. And then one day I was just working in my home office, and I looked down, and it was no longer that light brown color. It was actually red. It was like bleeding, like cherry red. And I was like, that can't be good. At any rate, went back to the breast specialist, and she was still kind of being dismissive and saying things like, "Oh, it'll clear. It could just be a milk duct agitation, and I'll just go behind the left nipple and clear it out." She was way too flippant for me. So at any rate, I got the MRI, and then that's when it came back that I had several masks that was of question, and that I needed to get a biopsy. And then there goes the rest of that story. So that's how I got here. Clearly I fired her. She was not gonna operate on me. I had lost my faith in her. I should have lost my faith in her a long time ago, but everything happens in due time and God's perfect plan. So anyway, it wasn't a complete shock to me because I knew something was wrong and I knew my family history. I asked for a prophylactic mastectomy, which means that you can get the surgery even without an official diagnosis, but they advised me not to. They said that they don't really like to operate on healthy breast tissue, but clearly I don't know how healthy it is if it's just having those type of symptoms. But anyway, honey, I'm not really worried about it. Now I'll forever have foobs, but they'll, be youthful. Yay, I guess. But at any rate, I wasn't complaining about the old boobs, but again, everything happens for a reason. I'm happy to be here. Okay, so like it's not all doom and gloom. Okay, have a great day. Oh, and I have one last comment that I want to make. For women of color, especially Black women, we have what's called dense breast tissue. So, no offense, but mammograms do not work, as well as ultrasounds and MRIs. And the reason is because the machine has limitations on what it can see. And by the breast tissue being so dense, meaning they can't see through it as easily, things like this can happen where they miss things. So you need to request an ultrasound or MRI or both, because I believe me getting the mammogram last year is why it was missed. Essentially, it couldn't see through it. And here's why I also say that. Because when I got the MRI, when it showed up, they said, oh, now you have to go back and get a mammogram and ultrasound to confirm what the MRI has already seen, which is crazy to me. But at any rate, I got an MRI with contrast so that they could see like the before and after and see it lit up or whatever. Okay, so when I went back to get the mammogram, they could not see the mass. So that further supports my point that mammograms are completely useless for people with dense breast tissue, because it literally came back inconclusive. It's on the report, the final report. And when they did the ultrasound, though, they could see them. So I say that to say, advocate for yourself not to get those mammograms. I mean, they can do them, but also tell them you want an ultrasound to go with it, because otherwise it's trash. Even the 3D mammogram, it did nothing for me in my situation. So, all right, now I'm done. Have a great day.